This is Still a Part of Us, a podcast where moms and dads share the story of their child who was stillborn or who died in infancy. I'm Lee Red, and this episode of Advice and Encouragement from a Lost Dad, I chat with Dustin, whose daughter was stillborn at 37 weeks. By the way, you can hear both Emily's and Dustin's episodes about the birth of their child on episodes 16 and 18. Today, Dustin discussed with us a couple things of advice, one of them being give people the benefit of the doubt. They might not know what's going on in your life, and they purposely don't mean to hurt you. As a word of caution to our listeners, this discussion contains emotional triggers of stillbirth and infant loss. Please keep yourself emotionally and mentally healthy and seek help if needed. Hope this helps someone out there.
My daughter's name was Margaret Bernice. She was born 4 months ago yesterday. So it's been not very long. It's been very hard. Everything has felt raw for a while, especially the months afterwards. My wife and I were on the same page with our grief. I feel like at some point we kind of switched how we felt. She still feels very sad. I deal with a lot more anxiety. I feel like that's how my grief is manifesting.
Mm-hmm.
I guess like one piece of advice would be to just communicate as much as you can about that with your spouse. We try not to, if she's feeling sad and I'm not, I try and listen and not fix it. If I'm feeling anxious, she listens to me spout off about the things that I'm anxious. So as much as you can, just accept that other people grieve differently. One thing that's been really helpful for both of us is we're English teachers, but I would encourage people to write about it. That's been helpful for me. And it's one way it's helpful is she is writing as well. So to have her write and then, have me write about the same things, but from a different perspective. One thing that happens is she remembers things that are different that I just never would have thought of, or I don't know, had forgotten, and vice versa.
Yeah, that's very wise, like having the writings that you're both doing, because it's your own perspective and you're able to hopefully cast a broad enough net with both of your experiences and get the whole story.
Yeah, we actually started blogging about it, and we started pretty soon after we lost Maggie in May, and we started at the end of June. And I was very nervous about putting this like very personal thing out there. I just felt very exposed at first. But it has turned out to be a good thing. We have so far not dealt with trolls or the negative side of the internet. And people say they like to read the different perspectives. We'll write about the same topic sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And there have been people that have, for me, I guess the best piece of advice that I would give is find other people who have gone through it. We have a grief group that we go to, and it's for baby loss specifically.
Mm-hmm.
And that has been such a help. I remember feeling the first time I went like we were going to be told we were in the wrong place, that I don't know, that we were going to get like run out or something. I don't know why. Again, I don't know why I felt like that, but then hearing everybody else's stories, and it was like, oh, this really does happen to people. I mean, we went like 4 days after we lost Maggie. I mean, we had just lost her, and there was nobody that it was that fresh. But so finding people that, I don't know, hearing other people's stories, if you can find them. I know some people, it sounds morbid to like read about it. Some people want you to just like move on. But I think, until you're ready to not read about it anymore, find other stories, find other people to talk to. That has been a huge help. And so I think that's part of why, write for yourself. But I don't know if I'd recommend anybody blog, but I know for us it has been good because we've had people contact us just in the few short months that we've been doing it and tell us that they don't have people that are talking about this around them. They live in small towns, or we even had one lady from India that said that she just felt like no one would talk to her about her loss, and everyone just acted like it didn't exist.
Mm.
And so while it's still so fresh that I don't know that I'm in a place to, sometimes I feel like I'm not in a place to help anybody. But I guess I just hope that by sharing our story, it'll just validate other people's feelings, because I know that happened for me after we had our loss. And it still happens when I meet other people that have been through it. It's always, I don't know, what is it that the club, you'll hear that a
Oh,
lot.
yeah.
If you've been through this, you're part of the club.
The
The
worst
club
club
nobody
in the
wants to
world,
be in.
yeah.
Yeah, but it's true. I don't know. I feel like people don't get it unless they've been through it.
Just sad reality. Any other advice that you, or pearls of wisdom?
I think, like you and I were talking a little bit earlier, people are gonna say things that are not gonna sit well with you. I try and just remember that I would have been terrible at helping someone who had been through this before I had gone through it myself. And even now, I don't know what to say to people who've been through it. I can talk about it with them and tell them my story, but there just kind of is no right thing to say. So I just try not to get too caught up in when people say things that aren't helpful. And I really just appreciate when people do say things that are helpful. I went to an ENT recently and told him my situation. And a lot of people will shy away after they ask you, like, do you have any kids? And he, rather than shy away from it, so he found out I had a stillborn daughter, and then he asked me her name, and I like teared up in the doctor's office because it was just so nice. So I guess enjoy when that happens too, and find times for the right people. Feel free to share. And he even sent me a letter afterwards, and he's like a guy I don't hardly know. I've not seen him a lot. He's just a doctor that I have seen occasionally over the past few years, and he was just very kind. So I guess just appreciate those people that are able to listen to you, because it means a lot to me. And I think if you can find those people, it's good.
There is just little special, like you said, that doctor just asking what your daughter's name was. It just makes you realize that there's validation that, yes, my situation is important to me and to other people as well.
Mm-hmm.
So, Dustin, thank you so much for coming and talking with us. And would you like to talk about your personal blog that you and your wife have about your daughter Margaret and your guys' experience?
Yeah, so our blog is stillourmaggie.com, and we started it about 2 months or a month and a half after we lost her. And if you go there, there is a page called A Father's Grief, and that is where I share my experience and the things that I want to write about. And I have some excerpts. I had been writing a kind of a memoir about teaching for a year, but it turned into a collection of an account of the pregnancy and the loss. And so you'll find that there as well, just some excerpts from that. And then also there is a page titled A Mother's Grief, and that is Emily's, her thoughts and her experiences. So we post every Friday and just like to share our story with those who are interested in reading it.
Well, thank you so much, and good luck in your healing, and good luck with your writing too.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you
Thanks so much.
Bye-bye. A huge thanks to Dustin for sharing how grief and mourning has looked for him. This has helped me. It's always nice to connect with another person who is going through something like you, and so I thank him personally. And I hope this is helping some other lost parents and those around them. By the way, though this episode is coming out after the Walk of Remembrance that Dustin and his wife Emily have mentioned, you can still find information on that event in the show notes. So head over to our website, stillapartofus.com, for more information. While you're on our website, stillapartofus.com, you could find a full transcript of this episode. You could sign up for a short and helpful email newsletter. There you could also learn how to become a patron and support the work it takes to produce this show for just a few dollars a month. And lastly, you could find out how to get in touch with us if you would like to share your child's story on the show. The show was produced and edited by Lee and Winter Red. Thanks to Josh Woodward for letting us use his song, Vanishing Note. You could find him at joshwoodward.com. Lastly, subscribe to this podcast and share it with a friend that might need it, and tell them to subscribe. Why? Because people need to know that even though our babies are no longer with us, they are still a part of us. Never trust people who smile constantly. They're either selling something or not very bright. Laurel K. Hamilton.